This is going to be our high school league day, so thank you guys so much for joining us. Those of you guys who don't know about us, we're a recreational esports league operating here in Illinois. Our goal is to provide structure and allow gamers to really get to know each other and to really bring up the esports community. Right now we have a game between St. Lawrence and Naperville High. Naperville High, I believe, is on the right-hand side, and St. Lawrence is here on the left-hand side. Those of you guys joining us in stream, welcome. Let me know if you guys can hear everything well. If there's any edits that we need to do, let me know. While we're waiting for Naperville High's players to come in, let's go take a look at some of the players currently here. So the first person we're going to look up is Deadman4852. He appears to be a top laner. 14 games played on the Renekton in the current season. Let's see who he played in the past season, because I know this season just recently started. We have 34 games as Nasus, and 14 games as the Garen. So the Renekton seems to be a newer pick for Deadman. Now let's see here. Well, I mean, it's only fair that we look for someone on the other team. So let's look at Cheese Whiskers. So Cheese Whisker is also a top main. He's got 15 games played as Nasus. People seem to like the Nasus. I can get behind some Q farming, and then 70% win rate as Nautilus. Wow, is that real? That's awesome. All right, we're having some more of the players trickle in. We'll have them on up until 15 minutes after. That's when the deadline's going to be for Naperville High to get all their players in. But it looks like we'll hit that no problem. Next, we're going to look at Smile. All right, someone thinks Smile's going to hit Challenger. All right, I'm expecting a high-scoring game. He's got to carry then, right? All right. Let's see. We got Smile. Sorry for the clicking on my keyboard. Plat 2, also a top player, plays the Riven. Very good win rate on Riven, 73%. So that's gonna be a player to watch. All right, looks like the players are in. You guys, they can go whenever everyone's ready. All right, and then we'll get to Tiered Cathead. Let's see, where's Tiered Cathead? All right, Tiered Cathead has 6 games played as Scion, and then 5 games as Thresh and 4 as Janna. So this is probably their support player. Has a really high win rate on all of that. So I think he's been doing really, really well. Gold previous season, so probably around gold in this current season as well. Let's see some of the previous champs. Season 8 played the Scion support. All right, let's see who the game is going. Let's kind of see who they end up picking and banning. The players that we looked at, Smile had a really high win rate on the Riven, so I wouldn't be surprised if Naperville ends up banning that. But Deadman and Smile are both top lane players, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to see who's playing what position. A cat ban, a very snowbally champion. I think it's a good pick, or a good ban. I'm sorry. The Shinzao. All right, so we have a jungler and a mid lane ban. Shinzao is also extremely strong, kind of all throughout the phases of the game. Always relevant, especially with his ult that mitigates so much damage. J4. Alright. Okay. I normally play ADC, so I know the J4 flag and drag, and then just ults onto you, and then... Okay, so something ended up happening. I think someone ended up DCing or leaving. I think this is okay. As I mean, we all saw the bands that they ended up doing. So as long as the bands are the same, I think it's all right. Give us a second while we're trying to figure out the any issues going on right now. All right. Looks like we're in business. And so we should expect everyone to ban the exact same champions. There's the Shinzao ban, and then this is gonna be the wow, I've already forgotten the J4 ban. There we go. All right. While they're picking the next band, we can kind of look at the next player. So we'll look up Anastasia 98. So there's a lot of love going towards the junglers. I obviously did not spell the name right, so I cannot find Anastasia 98. That's okay. We'll just continue talking about the band. So the St. Laurence team obviously is very concerned about the mid lane with the LeBlanc and Katarina ban. The Naperville team is banning out some of the junglers, and we have a Nasus pick. This is a pick that we've seen Deadman 4852 play a lot in Season 8. It's also a champion that we've seen picked by the jungler on Naperville's team as well. We have an instant pick of Akali mid. Yep, jungle OP can influence all the lanes. So much respect towards their jungler. So we have a Lucian, which is going to be a very mobile champion for the bot lane. He's going to be able to dash even when Nasus withers him, but he's still going to be slow, so that'll kind of limit his mobility a little bit. We have a Yasuo probably going into the mid lane. Nasus is most likely going to go top. And so, I mean, this is going to be a matchup where, you know, if the Yasuo really gets going, it's going to be very hard for Naperville to be able to counter, especially because his wind wall can block a blitz hook. The Akali is still going to be able to dive in, but it's really going to negate the Blitzcrank's engage. So we'll see now who Naperville is going to be banning. Those of you guys joining us, we're streaming the game between St. Laurence, which is on the left-hand side, and Naperville, High, on the right-hand side. This is our first week of GG League's High School League, and so thank you guys so much for joining us. So we have an Ezreal, which makes sense because the only two picks left is the jungle and the bot lane on St. Lawrence side. And then for the Naperville side, we still have their jungler, and then we still have their top lane to be picked. And so, you know, we can see two jungle bans. Okay, a top lane ban. Nasus, it's a little bit challenging for Nasus to play against Renekton because Renekton wants to snowball the lane, a very strong early game champion, and so maybe this is a way of alleviating some of the pressure of having a scaling Nasus on the top lane. And for those of you guys who are watching, thank you so much for joining our stream. We're GG Leagues, we're a recreational esports league in Illinois. We're working to provide structured leagues for high school and college students. And I think one of the things we do uniquely is that we actually have in-person events. And so this season, we're hoping to have an event where all the players in our leagues are able to come together and play a match in person. So you're able to actually meet face-to-face with the people that you're playing against. And hopefully it makes for better gameplay and also for people to really meet other gamers in the Illinois area. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope that you guys will continue to tune in. We also have our collegiate game tomorrow and another collegiate league on Thursday as well, so please tune in for that. All right, we have a very mobile Vayne. The Vayne's going to be a great pick in the bot lane against a Blitzcrank because you can always tumble out of that. The Lulu is also going to be able to provide a lot of peeling for the Vayne, and so this is going to be definitely a matchup to watch. You're going to have basically the Yasuo diving into Naperville's line. You have Nasus probably running behind him as well, along with the Amumu who's initiating. There's not a whole lot of knockups for the Yasuo, so the Yasuo is really going to have to position really well. And then on the back line for St. Laurence, you're going to have the Lulu just sitting on the Vayne, constantly shielding her, knocking her up. The Jackson's going to be jumping in, the Akali's going to be jumping in, so look for the Lulu to use her ult during that time. On Naperville's side, they basically have, they can do multiple things. They can fight traditionally front to back with the front line of Olaf and Jax, even though both of them are traditionally more bruisers, so they're actually looking to deal damage more often than not. The Blitzcrank, I think, is going to be really a key person here, because the Blitzcrank is going to be the one to really initiate a lot of the fights, whether he can get a pull on any of the high priority targets. Depending on how tanky the Nasus is going to build, pulling the Nasus is really not a bad idea either, but you're really watching for the Blitz to pull the Vayne. Even pulling the Lulu, because if you pull the Lulu can ult the Vayne. And so that is not a bad choice either. So we're going to give them some time to load into the game, and then we'll get everything underway. In terms of picks, I don't really know who exactly has the better pick in this pick and ban phase. So, I mean, both teams have clear win conditions. I would say that the St. Laurence team on the left requires a little bit more scaling with the Vayne and the Nasus. I'm really looking for Naperville High to be fairly aggressive, especially when Akali hits level 6. We'll expect her to dive in. I think some of it will also be decided on how well the Yasuo or the Akali in the mid lane are able to roam and how well they can influence their other lanes. Lucian and Blitzcrank beats the Vayne early on, although the Lulu is a great aggressive support, can do a lot of poke damage with her little like fairy charm or butterflies or whatever the heck that is, and then all of her shields. So we'll have to see this bot lane matchup. Top, the Nasus is probably going to just try to Q farm. The Jax is probably going to be very aggressive and try to get some damage on the Nasus. The Jax E can also block Nasus's Q, so we'll have to watch out for the timing of that. Jax only has that one Q for escape, so if he picks a bad fight, the Nasus could potentially just run him down, especially once Nasus hits 6 and has the ult that constantly does damage, and especially once Nasus gets some points in his Q. I think Jax can bully the Nasus to prevent him from Q farming, but Jax is probably not as good at that against Nasus as something like a Renekton or even a Garen, who can just sit there and constantly spin on Nasus as he's being withered. And so in terms of matchups, I would say, early to maybe level 9, I would give it to Jax in the top lane. The Jax can constantly jump in and hit the Nasus, and he can use E as he like twirls away and stuns the Nasus. But once Nasus there's going to be a certain point where you're just not going to be able to compete with the amount of farm the Nasus has on his Q. The mid lane, I think, is a very skill matchup dependent. The Yasuo, without anyone to help out with knockups. Lulu's the only one that has some knockups, but I don't anticipate Lulu using it on the Yasuo. Just with the dive potential on the back line, the Lulu's probably going to be saving it for the Vayne. So the Yasuo is going to have to navigate around and really make his own knockups. And so if the Yasuo is able to do that and maybe land the ult on a couple of people, I think the Yasuo comes out clearly ahead. The Akali is extremely slippery. She can dive in, assassinate someone, and still hop out. Because of her dashes, she's not going to be affected by Nasus's wither as much. And so I think Akali potentially may be a little bit easier to execute. In the bot lane, early game goes to the Lucian Blitz, a very aggressive lane. And I think late game will go to the Vayne, as long as the Vayne can stay alive. Because the Akali, the Jax, and probably the Olaf is all going to be running after the Vayne. All right, we're getting ready. The game's starting, and then we'll switch things over to the actual game. What do you guys think? You guys think which team do you guys think has the edge? St. Laurence or Naperville? Oh, look at that! Naperville's got all skins. This poor Lulu. St. Lawrence team's got to get this Lulu a skin so the Lulu can fit in. Let's see. Yeah, I gotta say I like that Godstaff Jack skin a lot. That is definitely one of my favorite skins. There's just a lot of additional animations with that, so it looks pretty sick. The High Noon Lucian's also a good skin as well. All right, guys, game 1's about to start. Firecracker Vane. All right, he's got the brand new skin that came out. All right, the game is starting. What is the button I push to hide this spectating thing on the bottom? No, I want that. No, that just paused it. All right, well, this will work. So we see some pings going down. Last season, all the game we've streamed, no one has done any crazy invades. Everything was fairly standard. So you see them just kind of running into the river. They're probably going to drop a bunch of wards, get some vision. They have a blitz, so they have a very strong invade. So maybe we'll see something, very sneaky here. Although this ward here is going to see everyone. All right. So I think there's not going to be anything that happens. So St. Lawrence knows that Naperville is in their jungle. They're all pinging back. They're all going to sit near their mid turret. Naperville's running around, hoping to find someone. Spotted out the whole way, sitting on a ward. Man, I was getting really excited. I thought this was the first time we were going to see an invade. Jax is pointing back on that. Might be a little bit dangerous, but St. Lawrence is just going to let him get out. All right, so we're going to see very standard lanes. They're going to give Amumu a pretty hard leash. Amumu's not the best clear in the jungle, but after a couple of levels, he does just fine. The Olaf is extremely strong in terms of jungling, so hopefully we'll see some invades of the Olaf. All right, hard leash, very nice. Jungler's happy. Hopefully he'll give them some gank spot. Let's see here. Scoreboard. All right. So Vayner took a bunch of damage here, and so that's going to really impact his ability to trade. Laurence is doing a great job of. They're going to try to hit level. They're going to try to hit level 2 first, and I think they are. There's a couple CS there. It's not the end of the world. So the key is level 2. Blitz has his pull and also has his knockup. Now that's a huge load of farm. The Vayne definitely doesn't want to miss that. Try, good try. Mid lane, we had some trades going on. Wow, Yasuo's getting a lot of good damage. All right. Nasus just farming up. This is what he wants to do early on. Just farming up, getting some hits in every now and again. Yeah, Lulu's being really annoying. Blitz maneuvering to get a good position. I think that's a dead Lulu. Nice, but this might be a dead Lucian. No, Vayne's got to back out. Nice heal. Definitely saved Lucian's life. I think the Vayne could have probably been a little bit more aggressive there. Maybe gotten another hit. And to at least get a return kill back, but I think that was a right move by the Vayne. She couldn't save the Lulu, so in turn she just turned onto the Lucian and almost got the kill on the Lucian. Yasuo's trying to put some damage on the Kali. Yasuo is actually very strong early level, and so he's definitely using his hero to his advantage. It will prevent the poke from the Kali. The Kali student is just trying to bait out the engage from the Yasuo, but Yasuo's got some good good patience. Didn't go in. I mean, I know I would have dove right in onto the Akali, and that's why I'm nowhere near as good as these guys. Nasus is just farming. His passive is really helpful, being able to have some life steal just from that. And so that's a nice way for the Nasus to sustain. If we looked on the mini-map, we saw the Blitz kind of roam mid a little bit. That might have been why the Yasuo was playing back a little bit as well. Blitzcrank went back, so he went and bought boots, so now he's going to be running a little bit faster, get himself in better position to pull the Lulu or the Vayne. So you can see a CS lead from the Yasuo. The Yasuo has about 10 CS lead on the Akali, and that's just from the life difference he's able to do. The bot lane otherwise remained relatively even. The Jax took a turret shot. If there wasn't so many minions, the Nasus may have considered trading back a little bit harder, but I think so far he's just trying to Q farm. He's taking a lot of damage from the minions, and so that's going to hurt his laning phase a little bit. Nice, stops the back. I don't think he knew that. He just guess. Got game sense. Alright, Akali's just trying to farm on a turret. Still taking a decent amount of damage. Once Yasuo hits 6, he has Ignite, so he's going to have a lot of kill potential. So the Akali's giving him that respect. So far, only one kill has gone over to St. Laurence. Like I was talking about in Champs Select, they're a more early game team, so they're going to want to accelerate the pace, and they're really going to want to try to push the lead before the Yasuo and the Nasus and the Vayne come online. Farming the turret. I mean, this is one of those situations where you may need the jungler to bail him out, but the Yasuo at that point was so strong, and the Akali didn't have very much life. The Akali could have potentially died instantly, and then the Yasuo could have just 2v1'd. That's not something they want. And so here we see the Olaf come in. Olaf's level 4, Yasuo's level 6, so I mean that's just a little bit to relieve the pressure off of the mid lane. Greeting for that cannon minion. Many a times have I died to cannon minion. You gotta get that CS. Luckily Vayne doesn't die, so she's able to get all of this minions down bot. I think if she died, this lane essentially would have been over. I mean, that would have just been such a huge EXP advantage. Jax is gonna jump. Nasus has to ult. Oh, so close. Does the burn get him? Nope. So Nasus ends up limping away. Both laners, I think, played that one extremely well. This is that power spike that the Jax had. He went back and bought a Sheen, and that just gives him so much extra damage at that point. The Nasus just had a Dorn's shield. I think if the Nasus had a Sheen, certainly would have won that fight. And so Jax is going to have to be very careful about taking that fight again. Nasus is only 5 CS down, and so, you know, if I'm the Nasus, I'm actually very happy with how this has gone. Let's take a look at the bot lane. Bot lane is starting to see a huge CS differential. Oh, this is dead Akali. I don't think that flash was necessary. But so if we look all the way across the board, you have the Yasuo winning mid, you have the Lucian winning bottom. Not super unexpected. The Akali before Akali hits 6 is not quite as strong, but the Yasuo just performed really, really well in the laning phase. So he is definitely someone that I'd be very concerned about if I was Naperville High. Alright, so I mean, you look at the item difference, the Lucian has completed a cutlass while the Vayne is just on basic items. Ooh, you gotta be careful about this, Jax. Nope, he's gonna be able to kill him. I mean, the Jax is dead. Wow. Okay. I mean, the Jax saw the Lulu coming from behind, knew he was dead, so he wanted to try to at least get a kill on the Nasus. That's unfortunate. Wow. So now we're starting to see that even though St. Laurence has a 1 kill advantage, Naperville still has about 1k gold advantage. Most of that is coming from the bottom lane, where Lucian is sitting with 20 CS up. Wow, how is that possible? Yasuo has 30 CS up. Oh my gosh. Luckily, he does not have Ignite. Without Ignite, the Akali is able to limp away. The Akali has Ignite, so she can look to probably do something as long as she gets Olaf's help. I think at this point in a straight-up fight, Ignite wouldn't even be enough to kill the Yasuo. Yeah, this Yasuo's at full life, just absolutely bullying this Akali. The Yasuo hasn't had too much time to roam. As I say that, he was moving down. I think he was just maybe looking to ward. Looking at turrets, this turret's fairly untouched. Got some damage on that one, a little bit of damage on that one. But this is the bottom turret that's had 2 of the turret plating removed, which is around 80 gold for each of the characters, so 160 gold total. This is I think this is a great game, playing towards their lane of power, and so they know that Naperville High knew that their bot lane was stronger, so they went to the bot side. Yasuo's got to be really careful because this is a 4v1. I mean, we've seen Yasuo, 1v5. Wow. Oh, so close. He does get the kill. Now this is Vayne is probably going to die too. Man, just like that, you see Naperville really open up this lead to a 3k gold lead. And so all of that was really because of them making the great decision of trying to play around their bot lane. So the Olaf comes and ganks their bot lane. They're able to get the kill. The Yasuo comes down and tries to help, but he's outnumbered. It's 4v1. Yasuo goes down. And then the Vayne was caught out as well, trying to help out his teammates. Here you still see the Nasus farming. I don't think that the Jax is able to kill the Nasus under turret, especially because I think Nasus still has his ult. But he's definitely going to prevent Nasus from farming. Surprise, thought I was going to Q the minion, but, Q the Jax right in the face. So right now, this is exactly what Naperville High wants. They have a 3k gold lead at 12 minutes, and we see another return bot. The Vayne is caught out. I don't even think Lulu's going to be able to save him, and this is a very easy kill. Blitz didn't even use his pull until the very end right there, pulls a Lulu, and they get a double kill on bot lane. Now Jax needs to be careful. He's withered. He's able to hop away and disengage, which is, I think, is the right move. Baited out the Nasus's ult. Now we're just going to start seeing the snowball happen. I would anticipate the Olaf constantly playing around the bot lane because the Akali really can't kill the Yasuo. If he tried, the Yasuo may even get a double kill, and now I think he's going to constantly push the advantage that they have in the bot lane. First turn gold goes over to Naperville High, and now they have a 5k gold lead. All of this will really happen because of a jungle gank on the bot lane. We see Akali attempting to trade back. The Yasuo already has his completed item while Akali is sitting on 2 pieces. Once the Akali gets the Hex Tech, she's going to be able to sustain up a little bit more. And so hopefully this fight will turn a little bit more in her favor. Now after they took bot turret, we see them, Naperville, moving their bot lane top. A lot of damage. The Akali is able to wave clear. And is able to sustain back a decent amount. Now we're going to see Naperville moving top. And then what they're going to do is they're going to just basically use their lane, their bot lane, which is their strongest lane, to constantly get more advantage, take objectives. Yeah. Lucian was withered, but all this, but the Lucian is so strong. Lucian has a completed item. Vayne only has the Cutlass. Vayne's also 40 CS down. But Vayne's going to be spending most of his time farming, and this is really where Naperville can really accelerate the pace of the game and try to win before the Nasus becomes unkillable, before the Yasuo sits on, you know, a few more items. A nice respectful flash. And so Dragon is already taken. Now Naperville has full control of the map, and so they're probably just going to maneuver their bot lane around to take all the objective on the map. The Vayne is down here farming against the Jax. The Lulu has to stay with the Vayne because I think the Jax can probably just kill the Vayne. So this is a Mumu went in. This is one of those situations where it's trade one thing when the Nasus showed up. The Yasuo hit 2 people with his knockup and triumphs. Oh, the triumph is really what saved the Lucian. He got some extra life from the kill. But if there was a consistent knockup for the Yasuo, if there was a Malphite or something like that, he could have altered so much earlier in the fight, potentially have turned it around. He still did a really great job with Yasuo being able to set up his own stun, but with 3 being dead, this is definitely an outer tier turret, possibly even an inner tier turret. No, the Vayne's down in the mid lane, so that's going to be able to save the inner turret, but the Olaf is just wailing on top turret, and so this is going to be all outer turrets going in the favor of Naperville. And so now this has become a 7k gold lead. Great use of the Rift Herald, and a very good team fight that they had around the Rift Herald. No, they didn't get it. If the Amumu lands his Q, the Olaf is dead. Very nice. Nicely done. They were able to get another kill back for that, but still the gold lead is 7.5k gold lead, and so it's going to be very challenging for St. Laurence to come back from this. 2 Ocean Drakes, not the end of the world, so very fortunate for St. Laurence that these weren't 2 Mountain or 2 Cloud, or I'm sorry, 2 Inferno Drakes. They might get the first turret back. Nasus takes turrets so quickly. Both, they still haven't gotten all the outer turrets. Inner turrets are still there. This is probably going to be the inner turret in the mid lane, which is really going to accelerate the pace of the game. The Yasuo still has 40 CS over the Akali, and definitely extremely powerful. The Akali has 3 kills, but the Lucian, I think most of the gold difference is going to be sitting there on the Lucian. We see the Jax probably just take this top turret before fighting the Nasus. Oh, he's just going to go in. Oh, turret hits. But the Nasus got to get out. It's only the Blitz. Alright, bot turret is still extremely healthy. Now all outer turrets are down, and so we're going to see Naperville take all of the jungle, just take all of the resources away from St. Laurence. St. Laurence, what they want to do is they just want a turtle. They don't want to give up any more deaths. They don't want to give up any more kills. So, you know, Baron's going to be up in 2 minutes, so they're going to probably try to get vision around that. Taking away the blue buff. There we go. Nope. Tiered cat hat, or tiered cat head. Nice, nice steal of the blue. There's a lot of bounties. There's about 1,400 gold in bounties. So if they kill the Akali and they kill the Lucian, that's a lot of extra gold. The Lucian's sitting an extra item up on the Vayne. The Yasuo and the Akali are basically very similar in terms of gold. The Akali had a lot of help in terms of all the turrets, so all the global gold going off towards her side. A three-man ult by the Yasuo, and he's still chasing. Oh no, he's not chasing. The Akali dashed in, was able to get a kill. The Vayne is probably dead. Nasus wins out now. So I think this is the point where the Nasus is just going to be too strong to be dealt with. Current 300 damage bonus on his Q. And so at the end of the fight, it's a 3 for 3 because the Nasus won the 1v1 matchup. It's just a Lulu here in the top lane, and so this is going to be an extra turret going off over to Naperville High's side. If you were Nasus, I mean, maybe I would have kept pushing bot because you see two of them top, so maybe you could have gotten something in return. The bot turret is at full life, so you probably wouldn't have been able to kill it. I don't know. Maybe the Nasus should have continued bot. The Lucian sitting at 5-0. The Vayne was able to get a kill, so she's going to live in a gold back. Wow, that's so much damage from the Akali. Nice knockup. There we get the kill on the Yasuo. The Vayne's chasing. The Blitz is already dead, and so this is going to be a 2 for 1. 2 for 1, but Yasuo, one of their main characters, is dead. I think this is going to be a lot of Baron control going over towards St. Laurence. It's going to be the first dragon. This is going to be a Mountain Drake, which is going to be very, very useful for them. They do have a numbers advantage. You're going to have to be careful here because the Yasuo does a lot of damage. Without the Vayne hitting the Mountain Dragon, it makes it very hard for the minion to take. Oh, Vayne's dead. Oh, this is rough. This is rough. They have the right idea, smart side, but they're at least able to get the dragon back. Now look at this Nasus doing work. Nasus might be able to 2v1. Wow. Wow. And Nasus is only going to get stronger. So this is where the Lucian's mobility was really helpful. He was with there, didn't have to run away, was able to dash out of Nasus's healing. Despite St. Laurence making some good moves to try to get the gold, try to close the gold gap. The gold gap is still actually widened. It's around, it's at least a little bit over 8K now. At some point, the gold difference is not going to matter once they're sitting at around like 60 or 70K gold. But still, at this point, I mean, almost a 10K gold difference is extremely significant. The game is not over yet because St. Laurence has some really bright spots. The Nasus is extremely strong, 6-3, and now he's going to start building tank items because all he really needs is that Trinity Force. He's going to be harder to kill, but he still has to dish out a huge amount of damage. The Yasuo, no one else with any additional knockup has not been an issue for this Yasuo. He's been able to consistently land 2- and 3-man ults, and so St. Laurence still has a way back into this fight. And as the game goes on, the longer the game goes on, the more, the better it's going to look for St. Laurence because they have a lot of scaling champions. And so I still think right now at this point it's anyone's game. They have not broken the inhib turrets. Most of the inner turrets are still there. No, I lied. Most of them are not there. Only one of them is still there. So if I'm Naperville High, I really want to try to get the inner turrets, and getting Baron is one way of doing it.
A summoner has disconnected.
All right, so we have a pause here. All right, am I able to look at anything? All right, so even we're able to look at all the items. So let's take a look at some of the items here. The Lucian is going for a more early game power spiking build with Bork and then also the Black Cleaver. He's getting a lot of on-hit items. The Olaf and the Jax. Jax is kind of mixed damage, but Olaf and Jax, we can kind of think of them as more physical damage dealers. So the Black Cleaver is going to be able to help them out. The Nasus doesn't have a ton of armor, so the Black Cleaver is still going to be helpful, but eventually the Nasus is going to get so much armor where the Black Cleaver is not going to do much. The Amumu is still extremely squishy, so if you look at his item, he just has some health and just Ninja Tabis. The Tabi is going to block a lot of damage from the Lucian, but otherwise he doesn't have a whole lot of armor, so the Black Cleaver does a lot of good for him. Now looking across onto St. Lawrence, you see the Nasus. I mean, the Nasus has the same amount of item as the Jax, and he just constantly gets stronger with his empowered Q. So I think top lane is probably going to go over to the Nasus just in terms of kit. And you see Naperville starting up the Baron, and Baron is a way of breaking the in-hit turrets. I think with this Baron, they're going to be able to take the in-hit turrets and then really, really start the use their advantage in all the other lanes and taking even more objectives. So you see them grouping, really trying to push down mid. They really want to open up the map because they do not want this game going towards 35, 40 minutes. And so the later the game goes, the more powerful St. Lawrence team, which is the team on the left-hand side. For those of you guys joining us, this is a stream game between St. Lawrence and Naperville High. Naperville High is on the right hand, the red side. They were able to jump out to an early lead based on a really nice gank bot lane, and they just really snowballed it from there. A 1K gold lead has now ballooned to a 10K gold lead with the Baron take. St. Lawrence is on the left-hand side. They have had some great plays from the Yasuo and from the Nasus. The Nasus is extremely strong. I think their goal now is to just turtle, not lose any more objectives. Unfortunately, Yasuo is not great at wave clearing. Not the worst because he's got his Q. Vayne is probably one of the least good ADCs at wave clearing. Now Vayne is building towards Gunsu's. So not getting a shiv, so not having any additional wave cleared. This Candyman is just going to constantly poke and do some damage. There we go. He's got a high priority target. And I think the Vayne is going to go down here because there's no one healing for him. The Akali was able to jump back there. Wow, nice play by the Yasuo. The Yasuo was able to get the back line. The Akali was able to get the back line of St. Lawrence. And Nasus is here. Susan is here, and the Nasus is by himself because of how strong he is and how low the Naperville High's team is going to be able to defend. But we can kind of take a look at that fight again because I think a lot of stuff happened on that fight. We're going to jump back to this team fight that's about to happen. As I mentioned before, in Champ Select, Blitz really wants to grab the Lulu or the Vayne. Is going to grab the Lulu here, so now the Lulu is not going to be able to shield up the Vayne, and then the Vayne will just go down to the dive into the back line. The Jax is pushing in the bot lane, so the Jax is not there to jump into the fight. Alright. You see a nice hit by the Blitz, and you see instantly the Lulu dies. I don't even know if the Lulu ulted, and then they just dive onto the Vayne. You see the Yasuo doing Yasuo things in the back line. The Amumu and the Yasuo did the right thing, because I think if the Yasuo stays, or the Lucian stays alive, that's a dead turret for sure. Very nice hook by the Amumu, and then Susie just shows up and defends the turret. All right, we'll jump back into current time. Dragon is up. Even with that team fight where St. Lawrence lost 4 and Naperville only lost 3. I think that's exactly what St. Lawrence wanted. They did not lose their in-hit turret, which is the key thing. So I think their job was accomplished. The Naperville still has some time with Baron. Baron's about to time out very soon. I think they're going to get this outer turret, but that's probably going to be it at the most. They're going to try to engage right here. Mumu is sitting there. Yasuo goes down before he's able to use his ult. He was able to hit 3 people, and so he did a really great job with that. Vayne is in the back there trying to... Vayne's able to get a kill. Vayne is still alive, so they got to be careful. Susan is there, trying to do Nass's things. I think they're just gonna back off. I think this is good. Anytime I think when the fight goes even for St. Laurence, it's a win, especially because of the goal difference. It's still a 10K goal difference, and can go 1 for 1 or 3 for 3. I think is a win in St. Lawrence's bucket. I think they had to be very careful here, not to lose an additional turret, not to lose an additional member. I mean, the Nassers was doing his best to try to defend. That's going to be 2 turrets down, so now the fight definitely goes to Naperville's favor. Yasuo's going to do the dash through things. Nice wind wall, was able to stop a lot. Yasuo's still alive? Nope. Oh, yep, Yasuo's alive. Was able to get a very nice ult, got 2 people, and was able to get another kill. So now with that, the Lucian was worth a lot of gold. The Lucian had a 1K gold. Oh no, the Lucian already died before losing the 1K gold bounty. But still, this was a lot of gold that went over to St. Lawrence side, and let's see what items they're able to pick with it. You see, Nass is just building straight armor. Really no respect for this Akali. And I think that's fine because the Akali is going to be going in the opposite direction. The Nass is going to be running towards Laurence, and the Akali is going to be dashing to the back line to try to kill the Vayne and also the Lulu. The Yasuo is hit 3 items. His Guardian Angel was popped during the last fight, so he will not have that. But this is starting to become a very, very scary Yasuo. I think if he gets a couple of good ults, they can really turn the fight around. And so right now we're nearing the 30-minute mark. The gold lead is still 10K gold. It hasn't widened, which I think is a key thing. Even though they had a really nice, they were able to take the Baron, but they weren't able to get much off of the Baron. And the Blitz is dead from there. The Baron is still up. They're down a Blitz, so we can see maybe St. Laurence want to take the Baron. They want to go for the Baron. They take Baron fairly quickly. They have a Yasuo, they have a Vayne. Oh, nice steal. Wow. Feels bad. Jackson's bot lane, not going to be able to get anything from there, but Naperville loses 2 members, so while they have the Baron, this is going to be a little bit of... this is going to help St. Lawrence a little bit because they're going to be able to really try to get some map pressure, really be able to get some wards down. Very nice steal. So Jax was able to do a lot of damage to the inhib and really get a lot of damage on the middle inhib turret as well. Ooh. The Yasuo is low. I mean, Yasuo does a lot of their team's damage, so if I were St. Laurence, I would back off. And we have them backing up. They're going to let Yasuo heal back up and refight when Yasuo's back at full life. So St. Laurence has done a good job of stalling out the game a little bit. It's at 31 minute now. Vayne is sitting on 2 items. When we see her get 3 items, she's really going to come online. The Lucian has 4 items now. So he is winning by an item and a half, and he's got almost 60 extra CS on the Vayne. They have now grouped up. Naperville really want this turret. All right, Blitz Mister is not the end of the world. I think they're gonna wait for the Blitz hook to come back up. We're going to look for the Blitz to pull the Vayne or the Lulu. If I'm the Mumu, I'm just like, pull me, or even the Nasus, pull me closer to the Lucian so I can wither him. That was a chance potentially to go in. The Lucian got hit by the Yasuo Q, but I think the Yasuo wanted to pick a better one to go in on, where he hits multiple people. You see Jack splitting bot. The Nasus doesn't have as good a wave clear as Jax, so the Jax can be able to push and rotate faster. I think that's what they're gonna do. If I'm Naperville, I'm just gonna push and rotate, and try to out-rotate the Nasus. But in a 1v1 fight, I think the Nasus will actually beat the Jax. The Nasus has gone straight armor. He's got a spectral cowl for some magic mitigation as well. And so, how many does he have on the field? He's got 600 damage on the Siphoning Strike extra, so he's just gonna do a truckload of damage. But you see the Jax was just able to rotate faster, and then they were able to take the mid turret and then the in-hit turret as well. I mean, eventually St. Laurence is gonna have to pull the trigger and pick a team fight. Right on the vein. Wow, that is exactly what they wanted. Yasuo didn't hit enough people with his ult, but it doesn't matter. He's still alive. Nasus is soaking up so much damage with the Amumu. Oh my goodness. The Yasuo's still at full life, so he's gonna just probably go in. Wow. He's angry. Able to get a double kill. Nice job. You gotta be careful here. And then Lucian very intelligently backs off. So, you know, St. Laurence lost the inhib and lost 4 members. The Yasuo did so much work there. And this is with the Vayne being killed immediately. Imagine what would happen if the Vayne was alive doing some damage. And so St. Laurence is still able to win team fights despite being 10k gold down. So Naperville will have to be careful. They have to make sure that, you know, they don't pick a bad team fight, because they can still lose team fights. And they have 4 dragons, so this Elder Dragon is going to be very, very scary. And if I'm St. Laurence, you know, this is something that I will probably have to contest. And this game has been going on for 35 minutes, so some of you guys may be joining us from your previous games. Hope you guys had a good game. Those of you guys joining us, this is the stream game between St. Laurence on the left-hand side, the blue side, and Naperville High on the right-hand side. Naperville jumped out to an early gold lead of 1k, and they've managed to snowball into a 10k gold lead, and they just have remained in the driver's seat since. St. Laurence has done a great job of trying to slow the game down and trying to crawl back up. They have some really scary scaling champions, so they've done a nice job of keeping themselves relevant and in the game. The Yasuo is sitting at 4 items, so that's going to be very scary. The Vayne is trying to get towards her 3rd item. You know, the Vayne was put really behind by the Lucian, the power of the bot lane, but she's going to get her gold eventually. She's going to get her items eventually, and so if I'm Naperville, there is a little bit of a clock, a little bit of a timer, and so you see them going 4-1, letting the Jax push. The problem is the Jax really can't kill the Nasus, and so now the Nasus is kind of pushed out, and so the Jax is going to be looking to try to out-rotate the Nasus, get to the team fight faster than the Nasus, which is what they did in the bot lane, would allow them to get the mid turret and in him. I don't think St. Laurence actually knows that they are on the Baron. If you look at the vision, St. Laurence has no vision here. This is all Naperville High vision. So Naperville has done a great job taking advantage of the vision of the map. If we look at wards, there's really not a ton of wards, and so really St. Laurence is dealing with a lot of dark areas on the map, which makes it scary for them to be able to move out. Not even able to. Wow, they're just going to kill him through that. Oh my goodness. The Yasuo is so strong right now. Didn't take any damage. Was able to heal it up because of the Bloodthirster. So that was crazy. Jax now with the Baron is able to push even faster than before. Let's look at how much Q this guy's farmed up. 672. So 672 added on to this Q. Wow, look at that. He's doing almost, what is that? Like probably close to 1,000 damage. He's gonna hit with the Q for 1,000 damage, of physical damage. That's crazy. Let's see how much armor Lucian has. So Lucian here has 120 armor. How much mitigation is that? Oh, I can't actually see what percentage. So let's say even that's 50% damage. It's 500 which is going to be a fifth of his life with each Q, and it's on such a short cooldown. It's on a 3.2 second cooldown. It's crazy. He's just going to be able to do so much damage. Not to mention that his passive gives him healing. So he has bonus lifesteal. And so he's going to be healing. He's got 260 armor.
Blue team's inhibitors will spawn soon.
So, it's craziness. We're going to see Naperville try the 4-1 again, this time with Baron up minions. Yasuo, as long as he's not getting hit from champions, he can lifesteal and sustain up all of this. And now the middle inhib has respawned, and so there's going to be less pressure on St. Laurence now. This is nearing the 40-minute mark, so I think if I'm St. Laurence, then I'm happy with how this has turned out. You know, they've been down 10k since about 15 minutes. I'm sorry, 20 minutes, and so they were able to not lose the game, only losing one of him that's now back. So they've done a really great job. These cannon minions are doing so much damage. Pull on the Yasuo, that's exactly what they wanted. Pops the GA immediately. Yasuo's up. Yasuo was assassinated by the Akali, so this is exactly what Naperville wanted, and I think this is going to be a game over. So the Yasuo was pulled, went down, that was their source of all of their damage, and now Naperville is just going to walk in. And Nats is super strong, but he's only one man, and so this is Naperville taking game 1 in GG Leagues. Wow, so this was a great game, well played by both teams. Even though Naperville came out ahead and just really was never gave that up, St. Laurence did a great job of not losing the game instantly, of really trying to claw back, and hats off to them, and they did a phenomenal job. Looking at the gold, I mean, look how fed all of Naperville's players are. 17k gold on the Lucian, 17k on the Akali. Naperville did a great job of playing around their strengths, and so that was a really an awesome game. So thank you guys so much for joining us on week 1. Tune in tomorrow for our collegiate plat and gold division league, and then on Thursday we'll have either a stream from our plat plus division or a gold plus collegiate division, and so we hope you guys join us for those. Those games are streamed at 9 p.m. And for those of you guys who don't know us, we're GG Leagues. We're a recreational esports league serving the Illinois area. If you guys would like to play in our league, please go to www.ggleagues.com, and we'd love to have you join for our leagues. So that concludes our week 1 stream. So all of our official matches are done, but it's still early in the night. If you guys are players who would like to find groups and play some additional games, feel free to use our Discord for that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Good luck and have fun in your games, and I hope to see you guys here tomorrow as we stream the collegiate game. Have a good night, guys.